In this way, that the source of the mandala of enlightenment, the root of all the enlightenment, the root master, just doing the supplication prayer to receive the blessing. So then, of course, you know that Guru Pamasambhava, who is the just condensed nature of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Buddhas of the past, present, and future, that is still more greater, even his relating with his activity than even by the Buddhas. So, Guru Pamasambhava, of course, that many countless eons before, one has attained complete enlightenment, and then just always carrying through all this activity to benefit the sentient being through his Dharma teachings, especially that secret mantrayana practices, and in that way already just countless beings were got liberated from the suffering of samsara through the secret mantrayana practices. Even during this period of time, that Shakyamuni Buddha's period, that countless, many hundred thousands of Dakinis, the realized female beings, supplicating to Guru Pamasambhava through this 7-line prayer, and according to that, Guru Pamasambhava born in the northwest of India, that in Odiyana, in the lotus, and then surrounded by all these Dakinis and continuously benefiting beings. So in this way, that just Guru Pamasambhava just traveling and benefiting and just turning the wheel of Dharma all over in India, that almost stay about 2,000 years. And Guru Pamasambhava, in reality, of course, completely enlightened, but to lead all the followers into the path, then he still just display as receiving all these teachings, and then carrying through practice and doing all this meditation, and then accomplishing in these practices through which he have all this kind of realizations. So according to our sentient beings, the perception or that appearance to us, that Guru Pamasambhava have received the whole complete transmissions of all these teachings, including from the primordial wisdom being Saman Batra till to just the certain level of the root masters.
Karatina Chisa, Lama Latin, Chile Jipayo, Teletimbish, Lanju, number 10 on the years.
So it is just to explain and to let know that in these Dharma teachings and practices there is just a pure lineage, and also that how that one could do just follow it in a proper way, that one could also receive all this blessing in accordance with that unbroken lineage.
Carvato bottom never knew Tata Kondisheva in the Chutan number soon Chukavajirema to Sadu, tended Jigubajiro Tenetia Martina, nothing only, Conjun, Conquer, Ronjun, Cassi, is a Chindamera Zondia. Then unless you love me bajido, Panton me baji Gone, then nothing only. Lama Dembitsu, Jibitsu, you tell me, then said Temaris.
So according to Guru Pamusambhava himself, of course, that there is no anything that which is not enlightened. All the phenomena and beings are, according to his point of view, everything is enlightened in its nature. But for the just sentient being points of view, then where we see there are the existence of ordinary phenomena and ordinary beings, and according to that he just to follow all the followers in a just proper way, that where they could receive all this transmission and teaching from the master, and then one just receive all this guidance and instruction, and then one also carry through that practice, rather than he didn't do that anything whatever just comes in his mind, or whatever just he wished to do, he didn't do in that way.
So I church, Tambi church, yet number of Taba Toming on what you can do, Jabba something last of the game, then La Pagava Tela, Sele, usual son, Meron.
So, according to the secret Mantrayana teaching, relating with all these phenomena, based on its view, everything is from the very beginning, it is just completely enlightened and then perfect. So according to that, these teachings were transmitted through primordial wisdom being Saman Batra, and so forth, the mind transmission lineage and symbolic, and then the oral transmission lineage, that which has been transmitted, that where we where it is not supposed to fabricate or contrive, it's the true nature of that teaching. So all these enlightened masters, the Buddhas, that when they transmit, they transmit exactly according to the absolute reality, without any kind of just mixture of conceptual thoughts, not thinking that this is just looks good or bad, or this seems like a more just interesting or not. They didn't just contrive in that way. So in case if we just mix our own conceptual thoughts, and then just creating all this kind of just one's own idea, and then if we started just kind of going through all this dharma, then that dharma just somehow got polluted. It is just kind of become a just mess.
Ndalam jikasi now ngar pende tatena tanji yupiti gaso tene keba nangi chesa do ndalam jikene sam chogre zangure.
And according to the Sutrayana path, then the great Panditas, scholars, even those realized beings, of course they can write lots of many other commentaries.
So now they Bandita Chembo, okay, by Chembo Tombo Zichu. They did not take Tanjison, details of Timber Red or Minuta, the Tashinam. Then you had Jaro Chembo, Chit Jaro moment, you had Chit Jaro Tanji, then on the land, Gadrin now. Then it coronally shows in it, didn't it? Direct at the Travasi, then I go back, go to Kareka and do something. They take in Travasi. Then on something in it, didn't Bandita keep a something, or that day about the radio, they only didn't call Titoni Yard. Then it Naso, Zeta, or Telesius.
So even these great scholars, Panditas, even they compose certain commentary based on the Buddha's teaching. Then they just really produce to all the other greater scholars, and then they just go through, just examining or editing that their, just composition, and then they discuss whether that, someone has written that commentary exactly according to the Buddha's, teaching or not. And then after that, when they found it is just something more qualified, then they explain to the, Dharma king, wherever they just, stay, and the Dharma king, and then the scholars and all those, wise people, they just, gather, and then, just invite the, scholar who just composed that, textbook, and then they make all these kind of questions, interviews that, all those purpose and benefits of writing these, commentary. And when everything is just, qualified and perfect, that which could really benefit, other followers or beings, then they just recognize that book as a qualified, and also recognize himself as a good scholar, and then they enthrone, and then from that they just respect that just teaching. So, in case that a composer, who claims oneself as a that scholar, and then write some kind of commentary, and in case they found that is not just beneficial, not in accordance with the just Dharma teaching, then the king and all assemblage, they just kind of comment and just decide that now you cannot write such kind of just no value kind of composition, and that whatever he has written, just they tie up with the on the dog's tail and just let it go around, and then at the end they just take it and then burn it away.
Then it is of the Shinjuka Loba Resuna, the Lamlesuna, sentence of the Nando Treasure, they didn't that Bemes on.
So it is all because that in case somebody write a book that just explaining Dharma teaching, and in that it is not the real Dharma teaching, it is not really in accordance with the just enlightened mind or Buddha's teaching, then in case many people read that book and many people follow that, and then they may just fall into a wrong path, into a wrong view, through which they may just create lots of negative karma, that they might just fall into 3 lower realms in the next lifetime. So that is why just make sure everything is pure and perfect. So in India, in those days, that they consider that whatever that Dharma teaching comes from India, that which considers just a very, just a genuine, and everything is really in accordance with the Buddha's teaching. So that way it is also something very reliable. And even in Tibet also, there happened lots of great scholars and the great bodhisattvas.
Yenayang kepa tenang tante jile rangi tsai lama yiram jila miseki charong yung dile dreba tsam dele tsam songa ji yana mato kepa yele ki yung tsam mares.
So even though these great scholars and these bodhisattvas and when they compose or write a commentary on such a teaching, then one that where they could have the direct perception of their meditational deity, or in other hand, if their root master that just asks, or you can just write a commentary on this specific text. In that way, there is the possibility only they could compose a commentary. Other than that, nobody will really write such books.
Kende Dronda Chender Jitsi, Tender Redian, Yung Zanga de Zangu Maris, Demba Senjala Pen took Havajiremado, Yung Zang Lusom Meris, Bella.
And even that the scholar or person who is writing, that the commentary, also just one try to examine one's own mind stream. If one has any kind of wrong intention, such as like one wants to become very famous, or have that intention of to prove oneself very great scholar, or just looking for material just wealth, or just hoping for the respect, and then in that still it is not just a right intention, because all these Dharma teachings, compositions are meant for how that can be beneficial to all those followers, and how they can just lead into a just real spiritual path. And other than that, the way they compose the books, the commentary, based on the words, such as where they just write in poems that try to make it something very interesting and also just kind of fancy. Di rite pe masik lama niba chembo do thome chemba yangi dendeki tsamna mato dere dere sato jira nongna mato le zonga chele kajuma suko tumaras. But according to the secret Mantarayana teachings, that just unless somebody is just really have a real capability to write a commentary, certain level of realization or certain level of real experience, and then maybe possible one may just write some commentary. Otherwise, nobody will really just write that, even it is been requested.
Jipi Rimbani Masung Yaba Ti Koronleo Chelom Menroachi Tembo da Dice Masung Remazon Dele Jersey, they think here that there is so much So even when they receive the teachings that based on what they are being transmitted, even just almost each and every word, and according to that they just really follow, even they write a commentary. Other than that, they don't just change the words or meaning or anything based on their own just thoughts. Kandroma Kararis, Kanoma Montromo Jigi, Songa Jite, Dazu Jindu, Delis Delendamers, Kanoma Parches of the Yagmaris. So even one just
try to write, all this commentary without, just being qualified, then there are also possible to just have certain problems or obstacles because all the secret mantra and the teachings are owned by all these, hundreds, thousands of these doggies, and when they know that it has been just miswritten or just kind of, in a very ordinary, ordinary view, then the doggies also just, somehow punish them.
Ringa laso bane rimaki na majune songa che songi yese di kando man jilano che darte ne kando man jilano tre igayaris.
So from the very beginning, primordial wisdom being Samanbhatra, the Dharmakaya form, that in that way, whatever these secret mantra and teachings were transmitted, everything without just missing or without just just losing anything, just given to the doggies to just take care of that or to preserve without any just damage to that teaching. I'm just joking that in Western countries and especially in America, that mostly the females are very just prideful. So that is how all the secret mantra and these teachings are owned by these prideful, egoful, these doggies. And even little bit is wrong, they are going to punish. And although this, that men, they just try to be very powerful, but actually in reality, the women are more powerful. Even just in a family, just the real power is in the lady's house, in lady's hand. So even in America, that the secret mantra teaching or all these Dzogchen teachings are actually held by all these American doggies. Oh, I'm just joking. Now that today this Wanto and then the Talung students just stay to receive the teachings, and rest the Dzogchen first and second year class can go to your practice.
Okay, thank you.